Welcome back to another episode of Girlfriends Without Benefits. So,
Welcome.
you guys have been listening for, I don't even know how many episodes anymore. I'm not going to pretend to count, but I think it's all safe to say that something magical happens when women gather in a really safe space.
Agreed.
I feel like, which we've kind of alluded to a little bit in our intro, which you're probably sick of hearing by now, a little sneak peek of what's up to come up next. But you know that there's some there's some magic and there's some potency that happens when women gather. And we're trying to now figure out how to make that bigger. And there were so many jokes that I was waiting for both of them to say when I said make that bigger. So I knew I just like kind of walked into the ball pen there.
Side note, we were riffing before we pressed record and we were all like dying laughing and being really wildly inappropriate. So we're trying to rein it in a little bit, but we can't promise that we're not going to go sideways, even in this episode. But yes, point being, magic happens when women gather. And we want to bring that to you all
and create that with you. I feel like our loyal listeners have become a little family to us too. So we want to include you in the magic also. And what better way to include you guys in the magic than creating a space for that? So
without further ado, we are announcing how to harness the power of the moon. We're actually creating a moon circle and we're inviting you guys in, and we're going to give you a little bit of a sneak peek, if you will, about what we are going to be doing, how we are going to be doing it, and really the why behind it as well. So,
and to be fair, this will not be the first one. Cass has been hosting these now for how many months? I've been in person, one virtually.
And then I've done it, I mean, for years, but kind of pre-COVID. I was involved in a lot of moon circles, and when people, used to get together in person before the fear of the plague arose. So
we've been doing other moon ceremonies all too on our own and together, right? As well. So this is something that is a long time coming, and I can't wait for this next step and to have more people join us and to do this virtually and create this space.
So we'll give you kind of a intro, and we're going to start actually on September 25th. So just in a couple of days when you're listening to this podcast. If you're listening to it after, early bird got the worm. You should have listened to it sooner, the day it came out, you guys. We'll be redoing it as well. But the first one will be September 25th at 8 p.m. Eastern. And we'll remind you throughout this episode about that, but just kind of put a little mental note in that. And it is a new moon. And Jade, I'm going to have you give us a little new moon spiel.
Yeah. So we want to do twice a month, the new moon and the full moon. And the new moon is a time to really go within. If you start tracking the moon with your energy levels, you'll notice that around the new moon, you often get more introspective. You might need a few more naps. And the full moon, everyone hears about the full moon. Teachers and cops pay close attention to full moon energy, teachers as well. It's like, oh God, it's a full moon, right? Everyone jokes about it, but for a reason. So new moon is a more introspective time to really go inside. And it's an excellent time to set intentions for your month and really put in writing what you want to manifest for yourself in the upcoming month. And then full moons, of course, are a time to release that unused spent energy that is no longer serving you and just let go. So bring it in, let it out, bring it in, let it out, a natural flow. Yeah.
And kind of in shamanism, to bring it over to that side, we call it moon medicine, because we assume that during the month when I'm actually having an intention statement, the universe, the moon, spirit, God, pick your happy word, as I always say, is going to serve you what it is that you need in order to help you release for the next cycle. So it's this very beautiful, very like symbiotic kind of, I view it as almost an infinity sign flow back and forth, where like, you're like, oh my God, I don't know what release statement I'm going to do. I'm like, what came up for you this month? And then once you start looking at that, then you're like, oh shit, I have 9,000 release statements. Like I have all the things to release. I have all the intentions to call in. And then we figure out what's the most potent And in this space, we're going to help you actually put words to it and actually make it very intentional and very directive for the universe to receive that. Because a lot of times when people are like, oh, I want abundance. And I'm like, great, that is like wonderful. I applaud your abundance. However, like, what does that mean for you? What can you do with it? What can you provide? What is it? How does it change your energy? What does it do? What does it do for your family structure? What does it do for your relationships? Like, let's go down that hole versus just being like abundance and world peace and poverty for all. Like, let's get a little bit more granular than that.
Yeah.
P.S. Those used to be. I was gonna say P.S. just as I'm calling people out, that was actually like the first time I did the moon circle many, many years ago. Like my stuff was like that. So I'm calling myself out right there with you.
Yeah, I think this is a good time to kind of reference our, what was it, episode 19, redefining R&R. So rituals and routines, how important those are for all of us. And you have to, if you think back, if you're listening, and we can think back to when we were starting a ritual and routine that's changed our lives or enriched our lives in a really intense way. When we started out, we were just like, oh, I guess I'll just try this. Right. And so I think that we're also just wanting to put like a motor to what we were urging everyone to do, which is bring rituals and routines and spiritual practices into your life. Like we want to put with intention. We want to say, let's do it together. So it's exciting.
For sure. And when you gather a large group of women and the energy that each of those women bring together in a space, and you're all setting intentions and you're all agreeing on each other's intentions and standing beside each other and behind each other, supporting them in their intentions, there's so much power in that. It's insane.
Yeah.
And kicking it really, really old school. Like women used to do that when we were more of a tribal culture and tribal communities. Women would go together in a tent or in an area and actually do a ceremony, worship, support, sisterhood, etc., once or twice a month, based upon the moon or based upon their own moon cycle. So like, this is something that like we're bringing it back. I jokingly said like from pre-COVID, but we're bringing it back from like pre-United States,
way back.
like
way back. It's in every culture. And the circle, the idea of a circle. I mean, I will definitely be creating a circle myself before we start our ceremonies, just with sage or just kind of, just making that space with a circle, because we're going to be meeting on Zoom. So we won't be sitting in a circle, but that idea of a circle is really powerful too. So
no, we will encourage you to bring, which we'll probably, I don't know if we'll do the first time, but going kind of further once people are really bought into the idea and practicing. I mean, I would love to teach you guys how to use like a sacred smoke in order to create a circle, and how to open up your own portal, and how to, like, again, maybe find the cardinal directions and lay a crystal or an offering for each of the directions that we're going to be calling in, because that'll be the first part of the experience, is actually calling in the directions, calling in the energetic space, basically creating a massive digital vortex versus, right now the three of us sit in Maine, North Carolina, Wisconsin, and I'm sure we're going to have people from all over the United States tune in. So I want to be able to connect that from an energetic level, because energy knows no bounds. She's not going to be like, oh, sorry, I can't travel to, Ohio today. It's not possible. Sorry to any of our Ohio listeners.
Poor Ohio.
Yeah, poor Ohio. I
don't know why I picked that state. I love Ohio. But no, it's energy travels where intention goes. So we're just creating that and connecting all of these pieces together. And almost like, I think of it almost like a circuit or like a computer system or something coming online, where it's just like one node to another node with an electrical current going through, is what we're creating in this space in order to raise the vibration.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what else, Cass, can we expect from a moon circle? Setting intentions, learning how to, open a portal and set the space at your circle. What else?
Yeah, so I think the next thing would probably be Jade's giving you an energy or sneak peek into the energy of the month. And Jade, do you want to kind of give a little insight into what that could or would or should look like?
What does that even mean, Jade?
Absolutely. So I will look at the planets and where they're going to be so that you can have a little bit of an idea of kind of what energy to expect. So, for instance, if the full moon is in Pisces, that gives you a very different kind of energy to a full moon in Aries or Leo. So, I will explain the energy we're kind of working with and what we can expect from the upcoming energy of the moon. And then I'll track planets as well and any major aspects that you can just be aware of. But I'll keep it short and simple and not complicated. And it's not like we're doing horoscopes or anything like that, just a broad general overview of the energy of the month.
I think what's really cool in my experience with Jade and, her ability to look at the energy of planets and the moon and, where it's at and what it's doing is also the ability, right, to shift things in order to lean into that energy instead of fight with it, right? When you have this knowledge and this understanding of what exactly you're going to be coming up against, then you can figure out how to work with it instead of against it.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. Yeah, because I think a lot of times when you listen to like forecasts, it's like it's very doom and gloom and just you shouldn't drive too much and I don't really live that way and I don't subscribe to that. It's more like, yeah, Mercury retrograde, sign the paper if you need to. Like it's like we got to keep living. It's just really nice to have, like if I'm feeling a little more tense or a little more anxious, it's like, okay, well, just need to chill out because Mars is going to move any second now. And it's
create more space for self-care this month.
Yeah, exactly.
And I feel like
I tend to,
using her planetary forecast too can also give you a little bit more clarity and potency in your statements from like a release or an intention perspective. Because if you know that it is I'm going to use high energy month, like maybe part of your intention statement is to find ways to release that, or is to find ways to get back into body, or is to find ways to move your body, or whatever the case may be. So it's a nice symbiotic relationship between those, and that'll actually happen before you start curating and cultivating your release or intention statements. So you actually have that general working knowledge, and then we're here to help and guide and course correct as need be.
Totally.
Yeah, absolutely. So a good, like, for example, because I love examples, what would that look like? If we're sitting with a new moon in Pisces and then the next full moon is going to be in Aries, then you can expect to bring in the energy of like standing your ground and setting your boundaries and pushing back if you need to push back. And that you can plan for that kind of, where in my life do I need to stand up for myself or push boundaries or push back? It can be really nice to plan that. And I'm looking forward to utilizing that for myself, because I don't always even take the time as an astrologer to look at everything that's coming up, and I can get distracted. And so this will be such a good exercise for me to ground myself to in my own practice. So really looking forward to it.
I think what's so interesting about that too is that might be really exciting for some people to hear. That like that's the energy that's coming in and that they're inviting in, but for others that might be really
very
scary or intimidating. So to know, right, if that's exciting to me, that okay, I have this opportunity, and if it's scary to me, to know, okay, I need to create space for this, and how am I going to care for myself after I hold my ground or after I stand up for myself, because I know this is going to take a lot out of me when I'm put into this position.
Really good point.
And for to kind of further drive this example home, like a release statement for both of them may be very different. So like Jade's maybe like, when prompted, I am going to stand my ground and I'm going to take 3 breaths before speaking my truth. And for Kaylin's, it might be more along the lines of like an internal process. I'm going to write all of the things that I am feeling and all the emotions that I am having and learn to process and sit with those. So they can both kind of play to that Pisces stage, if you will, but they don't have to necessarily look the same. Like not everyone's going to have the same intention of either speak or write or whatever the case may be. Like mine could be, get out of my own way. Like it could be very, like they can be very, very different amongst kind of all the others. So when you're listening, because we are going to be saying these out loud with the collective and with the group of the women on the call, we're going to go first so you guys can really hear ours, and we're going to get down and vulnerable first. But you can get inspired, but you don't have to, and you can borrow. We've seen people borrow them before in the past, 100%. If you're like, oh shit, like Kaylin's was a really good one, like I need that this month, go ahead.
Yeah.
But we're gonna,
if something resonates with you, there's no shame in repeating.
No. But we're gonna encourage you to get something really intentional with the kind of your own words, your own voice, and exactly what it is that you want.
Yeah. And you don't have to share out loud. Obviously, if you just write it down and it's a personal journey, then that's fine too.
I would encourage you to share though. Exactly. Jade is correct. You do not have to speak. You can just be a silent party, especially if you're, someone that takes a little bit to warm up and you're uncomfortable with the situation and you're just showing up to test it out and see what it's like. There is no pressure to take your mic off of mute. But I will say that it is a safe space, and we are surrounded by a community of really beautiful women and individuals. And so you don't need to be afraid of judgment. And if someone does judge you, that says more about them than it does about you.
And they're probably gone.
And we'll probably dismiss them from the Zoom call if we're being honest.
Absolutely.
But I will say that the energy does tend to be more potent when it is spoken out loud, especially in a group, for everyone else to absorb and to be collected to
1,000%
to kind of elevate your intention or your release statement or whatnot. So I highly encourage it. We'll be going first. You'll get to hear kind of all of, not that you haven't heard all of our dirty laundry on this podcast, but you'll get to hear the next level of it in a private container of what's really going on and what we're really calling in and what we're really doing. So,
and even if it feels more comfortable for you to just write it in the chat to begin with before you speak it out loud, we are empowering you to do that. Whatever it is that you can do that feels like you're stepping outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah. I think another exciting thing that we're planning that people just get really excited about this is our intuitive card pulls. I think that was way back in the day when I was starting my own spiritual journey. I joined a group and the leader would do that for us. And it was so beautiful to share that and just have your question out there and just be met with like the truth of those card pulls, and the energy was just so powerful. So we're all looking forward to that.
And it's fun too, because we don't know you and we don't know what you're going through or what questions you have or what you're dealing with. And so we're just trying to channel your energy and what you need to hear, what you need to see, or what answers you need. So like when we pull a card for you, it may not resonate with us at all, but it will with you. Like, oh.
Yeah, 1,000%. You will be met for sure. It's pretty powerful. So I'm really looking forward to that part.
We haven't talked about this yet, but I'm going to bring it up on the podcast because why not? We also use something buzzed. We also used very, very different card decks between the three of us.
Yeah.
So Jade uses a classic, beautifully designed tarot deck. I use kind of a shamanic medicine, spidery, dark, dirty death deck. And Kaylin in True Nature uses the most feminine pink pastels, watercolor, feminine deck. Like it's just beyond feminine deck. So if you are on and we are doing card pulls for you, we might pull from all three because a lot of times our decks are in sync, and they tend to, the stories and pieces tend to work with one another. Like even just this morning when we pulled for each other, like, I mean, almost every card was kind of mirrored in amongst the other ones.
Totally.
So that's kind of fun to see too, of like our interpretations of our energies and how we are, and kind of coming through from a deck perspective. And if you guys have no idea what I'm talking about, you'll actually have to go to, you'll have to go to episode number 21 that was just released a little while ago. We talk about the butterflies, plants, and spiders. Our decks very much resemble kind of that
that energy.
We can use the poll for me as an example. So Jade pulled for me from her cup. She has been pulling this, the 8 of Cups, right?
Correct.
Which basically talks about standing up for yourself,
walking away from something that doesn't serve you. Yep.
And Cass pulled for me North, which basically means to like retreat, be alone, go away. And so in that, right, kind of mirroring that similar message, that happens more often than it doesn't. It's also confirmation. We're like, okay, what did you pull? Oh, damn. Okay. So
I really am gonna die.
Exactly. Refer to the death episode.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to sharing this with you because it's a routine and ritual and routine that we do for one another on pretty much a daily basis. So to share that in a greater collective will just be really powerful, I think. So looking forward to it.
Awesome. Well, we hope to see you on September 25th at 8 p.m. It is a Sunday. And it is 8 p.m. Eastern, and we'll be meeting via Zoom. We're going to have the link in the show notes, or you can go to spiritrise.com / or /. I never know the difference.
/
Okay. That slash thing that you do for the URL structure, moon. So spiritrise.com / whichever slash it is, moon.
Or maybe it is / I don't /
I'm not going to pretend to know. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Slash moon.
Slash moon.
It's /
/ moon.
It's / It's this way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's /.
If you're thoroughly confused, just go straight to the show notes and click the little link. We'll make it so easy for you. Oh, and the first one, we're going to have a very minimal charge to this monthly subscription, but the first one is free, right?
Yes,
correct.
Yeah,
it is.
So
all you have to do is sign up,
come in, see if you like it, bring a friend. Friends
needed,
encouraged to sign up as well, and see where this goes. This will be fun, guys.
And we're going to record them in the future, correct? So people don't even have to come live. They can just receive the recording and then listen to it later and have their own personal ceremony.
Yeah. So once we go
later,
so once we kind of go into that subscription model, it's going to be $22 a month, and you'll get access to both the full moon and the new moon. And on very rare occasions, when there are 3 moons in a month, you get access to all 3 of those. I think that happens like not until 2026. So you guys have a little while to wait. But
you would know that.
I get excited, you guys. Like, so I have useless knowledge. It's fine. It's useful somewhere. But for $22 a month, you'll get access to the new moon and the full moon. You're encouraged to come live, but if you can't or don't want to, or are traveling or have life or soccer practice or whatever the case may be, you're more than welcome to listen to those recordings as well.
Perfect.
To see you there.
Yes.
Looking forward to it.
Bye.